No. Let's see. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here after a while. We took a little bit of um rest when it comes to our webinars. And then I really wanted to bring to your attention Diego Achio and his company, Traduality. Just want to make sure that credit unions do see different options in the market when it comes to reaching multicultural, non-English speaking, or low English proficiency consumers. And this is why I was really interested in meeting Diego today. I met him at the Inclusive Conference back in May this year, and it was a really interesting solution that he has. So, Diego, please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into your solution.
Yeah, for sure. It's a pleasure to be here, Victor, and a pleasure to be sharing with all of you. And thanks a lot for the opportunity as well. So my background is not really in the credit union space. I made myself a career in the languages space that later on I specialized into linguistics applicable in translation and interpretation. That's the title of my degree. It's a linguistics major.
Mhm.
And that happened in 2009. And ever since, I've been working for some of the biggest companies out there. I was involved in projects like the localization into Spanish for Costa Rica of Microsoft, um, Amazon translations, stuff like that. But I also want to share that that's my country, Costa Rica. And it wasn't until 3 years ago that I ended up moving into the US, landing in Bloomington, Indiana. And that was really our first interaction with a credit union ever.
Okay.
Um, Hopefully that works as an introduction to at least give you some baseline information about me.
Of course, yeah. So tell me how that interaction with the credit union, or at least moving from Costa Rica to the United States, influenced you in starting, Traduality.
Yeah, at the time I had a different business idea. At the time I was creating, imagine like this mobile app to help travelers communicate when they were traveling in different countries. Um, and but when we moved into the US to turn that idea into a company,
Yeah.
I began to notice the challenges that my wife, who's not an English, she doesn't speak English. She's a non-English speaker.
Uh-huh.
She started to face. Like for example, I noticed her going from being an extrovert person, making friends everywhere, into being a complete introvert, relying on me 100% every time she wanted to step out of the house, every time she needed to go to the bank, when we got in front of a credit union for the first time, doctor visits, etc. And I started to kind of doubt the business idea that I had, and focus a lot of my time into try to find ways to help her actually be happy in the United States, right? To have an independent life in the United States. Eventually, we came up with this idea of a mobile app uh, to help people communicate in the US. And we tried different industries, of course. But I have a mentor in the financial space, and he's a board director in the advisory board of a credit union in Indianapolis.
Uh-huh.
And it was thanks to him that we got in front of the first credit union. He told me, Diego, I think your solution would be very impactful in the credit union industry. You should get in front of this lady, Laura, from the financial center, First Credit Union in Indianapolis. And I had a conversation with her, just an informal coffee. and the our ideals were so aligned that we
Yeah.
wanted to accomplish the same thing. That when I went back from that coffee, I told my business partners, this is the industry. This is where we need to focus 100% instead of being money focused and try to reach as many industries as we can. We should just focus in this industry that really cares about their communities, that they want to accomplish the same that we do. And that was the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's interesting. This is when we talked back in May in Indianapolis. I'm sorry, we were in, I think, in Cleveland for the Inclusive
Yeah.
Conference. Yeah, the thing that struck me was the notion that Koreans, help people in the community, and the one of the largest segments in terms of demographic growth is actually people who don't speak English or multicultural immigrants to communities. And so, it was a very your story was struck me again because it really fosters that sense of belonging for people. So please introduce, your solution, the name of it and kind of like the
Yeah. Okay.
features that it has, and we can take it from there. But it was really inspiring to hear you share that information with me.
Thank you. And that really means a lot. Um, well, as you all know already, the name of my company is Traduality. We began as a small startup. This is, like I like to say, this is 45% of the team right here. It's just three co-founders right now. And we embark on a journey to create the first ever multicultural member experience platform. Uh, the gap that we identified after making all of these meetings and learning more from the industry and attending conferences and speaking with more industry leaders is that there's currently very focused technologies for basically everything. If you think like loan origination, transactions, international transactions, info security, I mean, you name it, right? There's technologies for everything, but I have seen very few technologies for member experience. And if you make it even more niche, there's basically no technologies for non-English or multicultural member experience, like we like to call it.
Yeah.
Um, there's wonderful services like yours, the ones that you guys provide at Coopera, but there's no technologies that actually lower the barrier. Currently, credit unions need to make a huge investment and create a whole project, even like a sub brand sometimes, to be able to serve these communities at the same level that they serve English speaking Americans. So, our business idea was born out of that. Basically, let's try to capture every single channel that you can think of where a credit union will serve an English speaking member, and let's make it so low barrier for the credit union to be able to replicate those efforts for your diverse communities, that it's a fraction of the total investment that you would usually do, that it's easy to implement and train to all employees, that basically any credit union of any size can actually start doing it, tomorrow, if anything, without undergoing a 12-month project, for example. And that's how we currently have. I mean, we're in the very early stages of that ambitious project, but we currently have a three-component product that we call um, Firelingo, which is
Hmm.
the name of the AI, that basically we install in branches, in the contact center, and soon in ITMs as well, so that every employee that's an English speaking employee can just go ahead and serve non-English speaking members at the same level as they currently serve any other member. Um, I can show it to you if that's
Sure.
okay. So I cannot show it. I cannot show you the one for contact center, unfortunately, but imagine it's kind of similar.
All right.
So we install these tablets, and the technology is inside of the tablet, of course. It's like a kiosk kind of thing. So we
Hmm.
put this in the branches, and any member that doesn't speak English can just approach the teller line and very simple without changing languages, without pressing a lot of buttons. They can just press and hold and speak into it, something like me gustaría información sobre cómo sacar una tarjeta de crédito con ustedes. Something like as simple as that.
I would like information on how to get a credit card with you.
And just get a response back from the employee without making them wait, without waiting for a bilingual employee to become available. Just as simple as, yeah, for sure, I'm happy to help. Do you have an ID? I don't know, something like that.
Sí, por supuesto. Estaré encantado de ayudar. ¿Tienes una identificación?
Right? And just like that, you completely destroy the barrier between the English-speaking employees. I could go on and on about this because I'm very passionate about this, but if I have to highlight two very strong things, is that unlike the stuff that is free out there, or unlike like little features that other companies are implementing into their existing systems, what we do is that this system learns from every interaction. So it starts becoming better every time that you use it, that the credit union uses. It learns how to serve the members like the credit union does. And it's data compliant. So there's no risk like data leaks or like us using the information for marketing or stuff like that. It's all the credit union's data.
Interesting. Yeah, it was really impressive to see that, in real time, and how, leveraging now this new AI technology. Obviously, there are benefits for both the consumer and the credit union. If you could give me an idea of, what these benefits are.
Yeah, for the consumer, let's say for the member, are we talking about consumers as the members? I guess.
It could be both. It could be non-members too.
Okay. So let's talk about the consumer as just the consumer. So for the consumer, the benefit is that they imagine if every credit union had this, now they would feel more comfortable about doing banking with credit unions. They would have the confidence that every branch they go, they're going to receive the same quality service that every other person gets. They know that they're going to get all of their inquiries resolved, something that it might be a little bit challenging nowadays. And they know that every interaction, whether it's online, over the phone, whether it's the marketing that they get in the emails, it's going to be catered to make them feel closer to home. So basically, we're making them feel welcome, and we're making them feel like a true customer, like a true member, really.
Great. What about the credit union itself? What do you see as the benefit?
For the credit union, I see a twofold benefit. The biggest benefit is that it completely destroys the huge investment they would have to make to truly live by the meeting members where they are motto. This will allow even a small credit union to just implement Traduality, and the next day they can start making efforts to get closer to their communities. Which takes me to the second benefit, which is the ROI, right? Because even if, our hearts is in the right place and we want to help our communities, we want to be closer to our communities, at the end of the day, business is business, right? We have to demonstrate ROI. Our technology basically gives 100% competitive advantage over competitors to the credit union that is using it. And I see this as right now you go into a bank and chances are they would place somebody on the phone to help with translation. And you can ask any Latino or anybody else from any other language, and that's a struggle. Because you don't get the same member experience, you don't get the same customer experience, because these translators do not work for the credit union. They don't live the values of the credit union. Our technology eliminates that. Our technology makes them feel closer to the credit union, closer to the employee, and that's a huge competitive advantage, right?
Great. That's good to hear because I came to this country myself, without speaking English, and it is a struggle. It's also a struggle for the service representative of the Caribbean who doesn't speak the other language. So I see a lot of benefits in this. Um, is this only in Spanish, or you go into more languages than Spanish?
No, that's a very important question, actually. We currently have 6 languages, and the reason why we have 6 is not because we cannot have more. The reason is because we're currently a small startup and we're focusing on what our partners really need.
Mhm.
Um, so we currently are compatible with Spanish, French, Korean, Chinese, Haitian Creole, and Swahili. In the upcoming months, we're gonna start working on Vietnamese, Portuguese, and I think Arabic as well.
Okay.
Um, and this is going to be available both in person and contact center. We're also working on different compatibility for different contact center systems right now, but it's always on demand. So basically, we create a relationship with a credit union and we have conversations with that credit union. They tell us whether they need a new language or whether we're not compatible with their current contact center system, and we start the project to become compatible with
Mhm.
their system because of the size of our company.
Interesting. That's great. One probably final question is obviously, when a Korean is trying to implement a project like this, bring in new technology, there's questions about security and compliance. What can you tell us about those aspects?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a technical guy in the company, but I can tell you that we do not claim ownership of any of the information going through our technology. It's stored in encrypted servers.
Mhm.
Data is encrypted both ends. And we abide by SOC 2 Type 2 guidelines. So my technology limitations, that's what allow me to share, but I'm very happy to tackle any more technical questions over email where I can connect the credit union with my CTO Strager, and he's the perfect person to address more technical stuff.
Sure.
Um, yeah.
Have you started working with a few Koreans now in the US?
What's that again?
Have you started working with credit unions to deploy this technology?
Yeah, definitely. We're currently partnered with 3 credit unions, 2 from Indiana, 1 from Ohio, and we're also actively running pilots. We can run no more than 5 pilots at a time, like every 6 months. So we're constantly reaching out to credit unions to offer them to enroll in the next wave of pilots. Um, we're currently running actually 5 pilots, 4 that are wrapping up in the first half of the year, and we already started the first pilot of the second half of the year, and we have 3 open seats potentially taken for the second half of pilots of the 2025.
What happens at these pilots? Can you tell me about them a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. So the pilot is designed to validate adoption of the technology by members and employees. So we basically install our technology in no more than 3 branches, so that we can have a controlled environment where the credit union believes that it will be the most impactful. And we either run the pilot for a month and a half or all the way to 3 months, depending on how many existing visitors they have from diverse communities.
Right.
And we ask the employees that every time that they have an interaction with a member through the pilot, they fill out a small form where they confirm whether the conversation was meaningful, everybody understood the communication, and whether they would use the tablet again with the member, and if the member was happy at the end of the interaction. And at the end of the pilot, we meet with leadership, and we decide together, kind of like kicking off the partnership,
Hmm.
whether their communities and their employees are ready for technology like this, or whether they were pushbacks or they're not happy with the technology, etc. And we just decide to move forward or not based on the results.
Got it. Well, that's great. Well, I think this gives us enough details, so if Cretans are interested in reaching out to, communities that speak different language other than English, or are interested in growing their membership, because, as we said at the beginning, multicultural markets and communities are, one of the fastest demographic growth in the country. So that's significant, and just want to thank you for your time, Diego, and a lot of luck to you and your new adventure, as I call it. It was really interesting to meet you at the Inclusive Conference, and I was really struck by this very positive advance in the use of technology.
Yes, thank you. And thank you so much for having me. And if I have to wrap up with 2 cents, it's something that I tell every credit union that I speak to. This is a plan not for immediate results. This is a plan because we know that the US is changing. So this is a plan for the next a year and a half, 3 years, 5 years. I think that's the right mindset if we want to be more effective versus regional banks, for example, or versus the commercial banks.
Correct. And I, this is an industry that needs to understand the market, and, in order to be relevant, demographic is very important, and then technology and data as well. And, you represent all of that. Traduality represents all of that. Thank you so much for your time, and, hope to see you around.
Thank you, everybody. A pleasure being here today. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, I stopped recording.